In this lesson, we'll be looking at how to draw the graph of a linear equation with two variables. This lesson basically is for year 8 mathematics, and this is brought to you from Daniel Math Academy. Alright, so let's dive into the lesson. We're going to be working on a quick problem. On this question here, we have an example, a problem to solve. And the question says, construct the table of values for y is equals to 2 minus 3x. Take the values of x to be from minus 2 to plus 2 and go ahead to plot the graph. From the graph, determine what is the gradient of the graph and also determine the intercept of the y-axis. Alright, so this is the lesson that we're looking at today. So let's begin the lesson. So get into the lesson right now quite away by looking at this. So this lesson we'll be bringing this in. So in this lesson, quickly we'll have to look at how we could draw the tables of value first of all, and then we're going to use that to plot the graph. So what do I need to do is first of all to draw the tables of value. So this is how you're going to construct your tables of value. So what I'm going to do quickly is to draw my tables of value. Okay, so I'm going to get this done, get this right. So I'm going to construct my table here and then get this. From this point I will bring this in. Right, now let's get this part so you can just understand what we're doing. So let me create the tables. Once I'm done, we're going to see what it is. So just draw the tables the way they are, and then of course we're going to draw this table into rows and columns. Now first of all, I'm done drawing all of my rows, so I'm going to now go ahead to draw my columns. All right, so for my first column I'm going to have this. Now this is going to become the point where I need to take note of this place. So now we're going to use this column. So I'm going to draw each of this column, right? So this first column is going to be for the values of y. So this first column, I'm going to use this to write the equation for this. So have four variables. First variable y, second 2, and the third minus 3x. So I'm going to use that to fill it up here. So the first is going to be y, the second is 2, and the third is minus 3x. Okay, so this is what I have, and then finally I'm going to have my x values. All right, so I'm going to also have, okay, let me do this first of all. Okay, let's take this one, please. So let me redo this. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to have my x value. All right, so let's write out all of our x values. Next, I'm going to have my next value here, which is 2. All right, the third, I'm going to have this, which is minus 3x. So that's the next value I'm going to put in here, minus 3x. And finally, I'm going to put in this value y. So this is my y value. All right, so for every value of x, after solving all of this, I'm going to generate a value for y. Right, so let me go ahead now to complete my values. All right, take note that I'm doing this for the value of x is minus 2 to plus 2. So let's take this now. So minus 2 to plus 2. So let's see how many columns am I going to get from there. Right, so let me just do it from here. So I have minus 2, I have minus 1, I have 0, I have 1, and I have 2. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to have 5 columns. All right, so I'm going to draw 5 columns here. So this is going to be the first one. Okay, so I'm having this first one over here. I'm going to have the second one over here. I will have the third one over here, and I will have the fourth one over here. So you could go on with more, but that's just basically what I could have. All right, so for my first value, I'm going to put here, I'm going to label my axis. So this is minus 2, the next is going to be minus 1, 0, 1, and then 2. All right, based on the parameters that was given to me. In case these values are not given to you, you could just choose arbitrarily. You could just choose at a point. So you could say from -2 to +2, or you could say from -3 to +3. All right, so whatever values you want to use, you want to make sure that it's not too large in terms of numbering. So you wouldn't want to go doing -5 or -7 to +7, because that's going to be a huge number to fill in. All right, so now let us go. So what do we do for this? This is 2. All right, what does this mean? It means that 2 is a constant all through. So 2 is going to be a constant because it's not changing. All right, there's no changing of as x changes, 2 doesn't change, right? So this is just a constant. So I'm going to put in here 2. I'm going to fill up this place with a constant value of 2. All right, so that's what I'm going to have, because 2 is not changing. Now let's look at the next column. So I'm going to go to the next column. What do I have? Minus 3x. What this means is that I'm going to plug in these values, okay, these different values of x here, and then whatever it gives me here, I'm going to write it. So for instance, I'm taking this up and I'm saying that this is minus 3x. All right, so when my first value, so when x, so if I say when x is equals to minus 2, which is the first value, what is going to be my minus 3x? So that's going to give me, I'm going to substitute wherever I say x, you put in minus 3, minus 2, right? And then as the value goes on. So for this, I'm going to have minus 3 into x. For the first one is minus 2. So this is going to be minus 2, right? So minus 3 times minus 2. So this is minus 3 times minus 2, which is minus times minus is plus. So this is going to be plus 6. So my answer here, I'm going to fill up this place with 6. Okay, so that is for x is minus 2. So when x is minus 2, minus 3x will give us 6. All right, plus 6. Now take note of that, and then so I'm going to just quickly wipe this off. All right, so to do for the next value that I'm going to have. So for the next value, I'm going to still, I'm using this same constant because it's constant throughout. So at minus 3, when x is equal to, when x is equal to minus 1, because I'm done with this, I'm going to go over to the next value. So when x is minus 1, minus 3x will give me minus 3 times minus 1. Okay, minus times minus is plus, so 3 times 1 is 3, so this is going to be plus 3. But I'm taking off the plus because in mathematics we know that plus sign could be removed. Okay, so this is going to give me 3. Now, so keep going on to the next one. So when x is 0, what am I going to get? So that's going to give me minus 3 times 0, which will give me 0. So at this point, this is going to be 0, and then I'm going to go to x is 1. So when x is 1, it's going to give me minus 3 times. Remember that we're using this as our base formula, right? To get the values of all of this. So 3 times 1, so this is going to give me minus 3 times 1 is going to give me minus 3. So this is going to become minus 3. And in that same vein, this is going to give us minus 3 times 2. All right, minus 3 times 2. Take note of that, please. That's going to give me minus 3 times 2, which is going to give me minus 6. So this is going to be minus 6. Right, so I'm done with filling up the all the values for this table. And then the last but not the least is filling up for the y value. So what am I going to do now? Take note that for the y, for the case of the y, so what I'm going to just do here is to add this up. So I'm going to add all these values, and then whatever it gives me, I'm going to put this as my y. So 2 minus 3x is going to give us what? Right, so remember that we are adding to get all of these values. So 2 plus 6 is going to give me 8. Okay, it's going to give me 8. Right, take note of that. So I'm adding this because there's no sign here. Take note, these are all plus signs. So 2 plus 6 will give me 8. Now let us see if this is correct. So I'm going to clean up this and then quickly show us how if this is correct. How do I know? So let me go direct. Our equation was y is equals to 2 minus 3x. So I'm filling up these values of x minus 2, x minus 1, x is 0, x is 1, and x is 2. So let's take this first one, okay, this column x is minus 2, and put it in here. What's going to be our value of y? So this is going to be 2 minus 3. Hey, come. So what is my x now? My x is going to be minus 2. So I'm going to put in here minus 2. And let's solve this. So this is going to give me 2 minus times minus is plus. All right. 3 times 2 is 6. So therefore, you could see from my equation that my value of y is equals to 8. So y is 8, and look up here. My value corresponds with this. So that's just the short method of doing this, right? So just add this. 2 plus 6 is 8. Same thing we're going to do here. 2 plus 3 is 5. 2 plus 0 is 2. 2 minus 3, all right? Take note. 2 minus 3 is equal to minus 1, okay? So this is minus 1, and then 2 plus minus 6. So that is saying, so this first one was 2 plus minus. Okay, now let me do that very well so you can understand what just happened there. So for this other case, we have 2 plus, since I'm adding everything, and then I have minus 3. Now take note that plus times minus is equal to 2 minus 3 is equal to minus 1. All right, so having done that, we can say for this one, this is going to give us 2 minus 6, which is going to give us 4. All right, so here, so this is going to give us 2 minus 4. All right, now so we need to go over to having to create an abridged version of this table. All right, so the summary version that's going to contain just x and y. All right, so I have it over here. So I'm going to fill up this point now with x values and with our y values. Remember that our values of x, a range of values of x was from minus 2. So we'll have minus 2, we'll have minus 1, we'll have 0, 1, and 2. If I get correctly, so we'll have 8, 5, 2, minus 1, 4. We'll have, so this is 8, 5, 2, minus 1, and this is minus 4. All right, so we'll have minus 4. So this is a bridge table which we're going to use to plot the graph. Now, so let's go ahead to plot this graph in GeoGebra. So I'm going to be using GeoGebra to show you how to plot the graph. Okay, so what we'll have here is that we're going to go from here to graphing our tables of value that we have here. So we've computed our tables of value from the previous lessons. All right, so how we generated the table, and now we're having a summary of the values of x and y all expressed in this table. So now next we'll go to our graph. All right, so this is your graph sheet. All right, uh, on this is your x-axis, all right, ranging from 0 to 8 on the positive x-axis, and then from 0 to minus 7 on the negative axis. All right, so and then so we're going to just try to match up the point based on our tables of value. So here I have my first value to be minus 2. So let's move on to our values of when x is minus 2, y is 8. So when x is minus 2, for the x axis, so this is x axis minus 2, and then we'll have y to be 8. So our y is positive 8. So we'll have our points to be here, right? So I'm going to draw a point here to signify that this thing that we have. So you could do an x, all right, or whatever it is that you know as a plus or an x. Okay, so now let's go to the next point. When x is minus 1, y is 5. When x is minus 1, this is minus 1, and then y is 5. Minus 1 and 5 meet at this point. Minus 1x, x is minus 1, and y is 5 on the positive axis. So have it at this point, both of them meeting at this point. Okay, so let's go to the next one. When x is 0, y is 2. When x is 0, y is 2. So come over here, our x is 0 and our y is 2. So this is the point 0 and 2. So this is the point here. Okay, so let's go on. When x is 1, y is minus 1. When x is 1, so this is the value of x. So we've crossed now to the value of positive x. Our y is minus 1, okay, which is at this point. So I'm going to put a cross and a star here. All right, and then the last but not the least, when x is 2, y is minus 4. When x is 2 here, y is minus 4. So this is 2 here and this is y at minus 4. So they both intersect at this point. Remember that the point is formed where both points intersect together. All right, so we have this as our point. So what I'm going to do next now is to draw a straight line. So I'm going to get a straight line now and then draw a straight line connecting from this point. You can, so in this case you could use a ruler. All right, so let's so you could use a ruler. All right, so let's get a ruler and get that done. So we could use a ruler and get that done. All right, so that will give us this. So let me pick up a ruler and then we'll get that done. All right, so um so get a ruler and then so let me get this back. All right, so what you're going to do now is to get your ruler and then ensure that all the points are all together, and then once that is done, then you're going to draw a straight line. So let's see. So this is my virtual ruler, and then when all the points are all coinciding, so I'm going to draw a line. Okay, so I could see that. So I'm going to use a different color pencil so you could see that all done. Sorry about that. Okay, so getting this done. Sorry about that. All right, um so let me get a pencil from here. Okay, so let me undo that and undo all of those lines just drawn now, so you could get that properly. All right, so let me use a ruler that is, so let's get a pencil and then draw from this point. So I'm drawing this point from here down to this point. So once I'm done, this is my point. Okay, so I have this, I've been able to draw my line, okay, based on that graph. So this is basically what we need to do. Now this, you can now come over here and label this, and you could draw a line from this point and say, you could draw an arrow, okay, and now write the equation. So this is a graph of y, so you can say this is a graph of y is equals to 2 minus 3x. So this is how graphs are drawn. I'm using our graph sheet, right? So this is basically what you've been asked to do. So we've answered the first question. All right, so what is the gradient of this graph? So now the gradient of the graph could be given by an equation. So we could use the equation method to find the gradient, or we could also just go ahead. So for every equation, all right, so for, I'm going to just use this concept to explain this. An equation is given as y. So for our graph, we're going to have that an equation is given as y, all right, is equals to m. So y is equals to mx plus c. This is a standard equation that we have, all right. So at any point, at any level, so this is y is equals to mx plus c, where m is the slope. Okay, so our slope in this case is the value of m, all right, and then c is our intercept. So we have our slope. So in this case, m is our slope, m is the slope, yc is the intercept, yc is the intercept. So whatever you calculate for, so this is going to be our slope. So now we have to compare the equation. All right, so we have to compare this equation. Y is equals to 2 minus 3x. So what does it look like? What does it mean? Do we have something familiar with this? So if we compare this with y is equal to, okay, let me take this other pen. Let me use this other one. Let me use this. So if you have this, you have y. If compare this to this, what we're basically going to have is, let's compare this to standard equation y. Compare this to standard equation y is equals to mx plus c. Now, so let's rewrite this. This will now give me, writing this, this will now give me y is equals to minus 3x. Okay, this is a positive sign plus 2. Okay, so this is minus 3x is equals to minus 3x plus 2. So what did I do here? I just changed it. If you agree with me that um, a is equals to b, then therefore it means that b is equals to a. So what I just did was to reverse this, right? So this is same thing as saying if a is equals to a plus b, then it means that this is also going to be equal to b plus a. So I just reversed it, right? So I could get the equation written in this form to look as this. So from this point, you could see here that my slope is this. Okay, this is my mx, so minus 3x, right? So it means that my slope from this equation is equals to minus 3. My slope from this, I deducing from this point. All right, so I've written the equation that was given originally, which is y is equals to 2 minus 3x. So I reversed it so that I could write the equation in this nature, because this is our standard way of writing an equation for a straight line graph, right? So I had to make this equation to look like this by flipping it over. So I'm having minus 3x, and then there's a plus sign here, so that plus comes over, and then I have this. All right, so I hope you understand what I did there. There's a plus 2 here, so flipping that, it becomes minus 3x plus 2. So my slope is minus 3, and then my intercept, okay, which is equals to, which is this, comparing it to this two, is equals to, so comparing this to c, look at it here. So my intercept c is equals to plus 2. We could say 2. So this is what we just did. So from the graph, you could compare and get your graph using the equation, or you could also use your slope method. But that's beyond this class. So but for now, this is how we've gotten our slope and our intercept by inference of this. So we've plotted our graph. By the end of this lesson, we've been able to get our table to show you how we could generate the tables given the values of x from minus 2 to plus 2. We did that from here, and then we went ahead to fill in the tables. Okay, so after we did that, and then we went ahead to now get the shorter version of this graph from this. So all what I did was to take the x values and my y values, which I have this over here, and then once I finished doing that, I had to go ahead to plot my graph. Okay, so to plot my graph, we just had to look at these values over here and then to mark them up here, and at the end of the day, I use a ruler. You could use a ruler, whatever it is that you have, and draw a straight line. Since it's a linear, it's a straight line graph, so please ensure that you don't have a curve or graph, right? So make sure that the graph is straight using a ruler to draw the graph. So we draw a graph, and then once we finish, we have to now find the question that was asked, right, which is the slope and the intercept. So we did that using our standard equation, okay, which I've explained to us.